What's up, everybody in the future? This is us in the present. Thralls of Metal. I'm Rin.
I am Shredlord.
I'm Necrotic Nick.
And we're here to review a band from the past and the future. Fear Factory Aggression Continuum.
This comes out on the 18th of June on Nuclear Blast Records.
2021
in the future. Band formed in 1990 in LA. 10th studio album, and as it stands, it will be the last one with longtime vocalist Burton C. Bell after a lot of time in courtrooms. Actually, it seems like more time in courtrooms than studios. But this is, I guess, his last album, and this has been kind of an interesting hiatus in between albums. The last one, Genesis, came out in 2015. Introduced Mike Heller as their new drummer, who is of Raven and Malignancy and a ton of other bands. He's kind of a really good session guy. And their touring bassist, Tony Campos, who you've seen in Static X, Soulfly, Prong, every band.
Every fucking where.
The hired gun with the womb broom beard. That thing is pretty impressive. Though he is not on this album, he is the touring bassist. And, well, I mean, a lot of stuff has been publicized about the split or continuation. It's very murky, and believe me, we'll weigh in on our thoughts on it a little bit more. But right away, this album feels very much like the Fear Factory that I fell in love with right around 1997.
Yes.
Recode is, outside of the kind of European power metal-ish keyboards, this sounds 100% like the demanufacture, obsolete era of Fear Factory. And bittersweet as it is, Burton sounds really good on here. His harsh vocals sound particularly hostile. He gets lower on here too, like almost kind of the early Soul of a New Machine sort of growls. There's something immediately about this album that just connected and kind of rekindled a love of Fear Factory that I really haven't like gone full bore into in a number of years. And wow, welcome back.
You know, I never really got on this train. I missed this train and was definitely just jumped onto the Meshuggah train, which I think is, you know, I'm a little bit younger than you, with the exception of Rin, who's 23, but I really enjoyed this album a lot. As somebody who's not familiar with Fear Factory as much, especially as much as the rest of you guys are definitely familiar with, I thought this was really good. This was a nice blend of some just, it was almost like I said before, like almost like Beauty and the Beast a little bit, that style, because Dino is just fucking crushing, and Burton seems to be the guy, the Burton and the keyboards seem to be the guy bringing in these really big hooks and big melodies and stuff like that to give it a little bit more weight, heft, and atmosphere.
They released 2 singles before this album came out, Disruptor and Fuel-Injected Suicide Machine. And they sound like Fear Factory songs.
Yes.
The choruses are maybe a tad more hooky than some of the other choruses on the album, but they're solid singles, and it still sounds like Fear Factory. What was really awesome is the song Collapse, where they went slow. Cyberdyne Dildo Massacre.
Man, I missed that. That was like a spin-off, right?
I think it was.
It's a Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Jeebus Christmas. Heavy.
It really reminded me a lot of Body Hammer.
Yeah.
Like Body Hammer stands out on Demanufacture as just these slow, groovy, pummeling, just whatever that hammer's hitting, it's hitting it very hard. And you actually kind of get a little bit of that ping in there too. It's like, a little bit of nostalgia. But the cool thing about that one is I think the keys kind of changed tone. Because the keys and the samples in here, it was multiple people doing them, so you got kind of like different sounds that kind of go in there. Rice Fulber, though, is on here, and I kind of count on him for the more machinery samples due to his long tenure in frontline assembly. This one sounds more industrial, like it's darker. The soundscapes are just, you know, I don't know, more just evil sounding. It's just, you know, like the factory is exploding. There's just like the Terminator dragging his half-ass to that factory trying to go after Sarah Connor. We're going to reference that a lot, I think.
Not like at the end of a Marvel movie. Some of the keys remind you of like the triumphant hero. I don't know. They're a little too pingy or trebly. They're too in the mix.
Just say it, happy.
They're too. Sometimes they're happy.
Yeah, there are some moments in here that I thought were, I don't know, like when it came down to the clean chorus and then all these synths behind it. And generally, when you have the clean vocals, there's a lot of effects on it, which generally I do harp on. I like good natural vocals, but this is Fear Factory. It's supposed to sound mechanized.
He sounds auto-tuned, which is the way it's supposed to sound, but he sounded like that before auto-tune.
Yeah.
He sounded like that in 93.
Fuel-injected Suicide Machine has quite possibly one of the biggest flips in dynamics because the bulk of the song is pummeling heavy. Like, it is just riding these syncopated chugs, and oh god, Dino's tone is filthy.
Ah, Jesus.
It's so bottom heavy and chuggy. It's almost percussive.
But crispy.
Yeah.
Very crispy.
Oh, yeah.
He's always had that, though.
Yeah.
That's
even
the thing.
Even though I was never a Fear Factory fan, I always knew who Dino was because, he was the little Mexican battle tank that wielded the Ibanez 7-string and played riffs at the speed of light, man.
Yeah.
He's a fucking riff master OG.
His pick hand is godly. But when it comes down to the chorus on this song, it really flips the mood to kind of almost happy. Like,
It's Disney ending.
It's very bouncy, and he's got this vocal pattern that sort of ascends, and I don't know, it doesn't feel as dark and aggressive as the rest of the song.
They tease us with happiness, but we don't want to be teased. Don't tease me, please me.
Fear Factory has been warning us about the future since the 90s. There is no happiness in the future.
They were right.
Only dystopian nightmares where the machines take over.
I mean, at this point, I think we could pretty much just let them.
What we are talking to you through did not exist when Fear Factory started. But they knew.
Don't point at the camera too much. It'll become sentient and murder us all.
It's already happening. They're just biding their time.
Electric eye. Just flashing in front of us.
Now, strangely enough, when we brought up the singles, Disruptor and Fuel-Injected Suicide Machine...
Which sounds like a Rob Zombie song.
It really does. Or like a Ministry song. Or like a collaboration between the two.
Could be.
The songs they picked for singles, I think, are good because they sound like Fear Factory.
Yeah.
It's unmistakably them.
Yep.
For a period there, Fear Factory would write the occasional couple of songs that were a little bit more accessible. Replica, granted, was heavier than hell, but it had a slowed down rhythm and it had like a big vocal hook.
Big hook.
Edge Crusher had a nice kind of bouncy, almost new metal sound to it. Same thing with Resurrection, just a big epic song.
Bite the hand.
But Purity and Monolith are the ones on here that kind of screamed like those should have been the singles.
Purity is not the Slipknot song, and Monolith is not the Mudvayne song.
Nope. Purity is almost a sequel to Replica. It's a replica? No.
A replicant?
Replicant, yes.
It's very similar just in how it's kind of built. It's kind
Rutger
of,
Hauer.
It has the big chuggy verses and then the big, hooky chorus. And then Monolith is probably the most accessible song on here. Like, this is the song that you could put on, during a party for people that just listen in, like, well, I don't get much heavier than Breaking Benjamin. You might like this.
Yeah.
It's accessible, and it actually features the only lead on the album, and it's not done by Dino.
I don't think I like leads in Fear Factory songs.
It's not the first time.
It wasn't like a traditional lead, however. It was
very short.
It was short.
It was short,
structured, and it did not have like a loose feel to it. It felt very well thought out. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, what we are used to are all the tropes of Fear Factory, which all of them are present on here. You even get, like...
Chuggy, 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 chug, chug.
Like, the script thing. Like, Fear Factory has always been high concept. The whole machine and man thing. And you get, like, little snippets, which I believe are Burton doing, like, kind of a
Sounds
spoken
like
word. Like, he's doing a script or a read, and I hope he got the role.
Yeah.
But, that theme on here, it doesn't feel as, like, cohesive as like Demanufacture or Obsolete, where there really was like a giant script to it. They just kind of feel like, all right, let's kind of check off the tropes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really good. It's really effective.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
The title track is quite possibly my favorite track on here. My God, that song pummels you to death.
Yeah.
That one, I instantly just got hit in the Demanufacture feels, and I still have a tremendous hard-on for that album.
I did not mind the keys in the song.
No.
They added to it and not distracted it.
I never minded the keys. If I could say one thing about the keys, maybe they would come down a little bit in the mix. But I thought they sounded good. I liked them.
It's a very lush recording, and this was mixed and mastered by Andy Sneap, though, to be honest, I think this album was probably done by 2017 and just sitting and then waiting for a legal battle to end or another one to resume, or...
And then I believe he re-recorded the drums. I think that's what I heard in a podcast, perhaps Rob Flynn's podcast, that the GoFundMe page he started and that had controversy was to help to re-record the drums with live drums.
Yeah, I mean...
Could be wrong.
They've had a drum machine on at least one album that I know of, but... I guess he really wanted Heller on there because Heller did a really good job on here. It's very similar to what we all know from Raymond Herrera. Like, it just follows those riffs, and those riffs are awesome.
And it's never been proven that Raymond Herrera is an actual human being. Could be a robot.
True fact.
Very true.
As far as complaints on this album, not many. Sometimes the keys bug me. I'm just not a keyboardy guy, and I'm used to the darker tone, the darker synth sounds, and like the first song, the intro had like what sounded like a horn section.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was keys and not an actual horn section. I don't know. It's not really horns in the future.
The end of Line 2 got really long-winded and very... and epic-y. I don't know. Epic is not something I would associate with, like, Fear Factory. Like, dystopian, definitely.
Dystopianly epic?
Yeah, maybe.
Or epically dystopian?
The only issue I had, I mean, some of the keys I thought were, a little bit much, but sometimes the chorus is missed. And, that was kind of a thing where, I don't know, I guess they felt like every song needed a big hippie chorus, and that isn't necessarily the thing. I think some of these songs could have benefited from a chant of the song title, or like kind of a gang vocal thing, or make the chorus even heavier than the verse, which good luck with. Yeah, no, good luck doing that. But I think it could have happened. And the choruses that really missed, Fuel Injected Suicide again, it just feels out of place considering the rest of the song. And Recode, the first chorus was like, all right. I mean, Burton's kind of an acquired taste. He has a great growl, but the cleans sometimes are really good, sometimes they're, I don't know, a little cheesy. But is this going to hamper this as being an awesome return to form? Hell no.
I don't really have that many gripes myself with this album. I thought this album was packed with a lot of good heaviness. Not every hook or melody worked for me, that's for sure. Not every clean vocal worked for me, that's for sure. But I didn't mind the keyboards. Perhaps it would have been better with some darker overtones, but it's not that important anyway.
No.
I thought this was a pretty damn well put together album, and not too many gripes really, considering, I didn't know I know what Fear Factory is, but I don't know it or know the band like you guys, so I had a certain expectation, but this met the expectation and exceeded the expectation. I really enjoyed listening to it, so just a few gripes. So all delicious Christmas trimmings aside, I will go ahead and give this album a solid 4 out of 5. There was no shortage of excellent riffs on here. Just this whole album is filled with excellent riffs. I thought the hooks and the melodies did well and complemented each other for the most part. Same with the keyboards. This felt like a very cohesive, well-produced album, very enjoyable. Once again, my only gripes would be maybe not everything worked for me as far as personal preference goes. And then maybe from time to time, some of the songs seemed like they kind of blended together from here and there. But I think that's just maybe a first listen / this is such a specific sound. So there's parameters, and they're staying within those parameters. So I'm thinking maybe after a couple more listens, I'll still feel the same way. We'll see. But 4 out of 5, solid album, and curious to see what this new vocalist does as far as
who it is
and what they end up doing once he's there.
I'm gonna go 4.5. I've been a Fear Factory fan since 1996.
Look at that shirt. Look at that fucking shirt. It's a $150 shirt on eBay.
Yeah,
look it up
right now. Check it out. Not this one.
No,
I might though. I might eBay this.
If that guy sells it, holy shit.
This is the best Fear Factory I've heard since probably Archetype. I like all the other ones, but this one, Burton sounds pissed and angelic at the same time. I know they put a lot of post-production into this because all the shenaniganry shenanigans. The riffs are what you want to hear out of Dino. His wrist, I don't understand. It's not human. But yeah, 4.5. Truth be told, this album bummed me out. Because I guess we won't be able to see it live the way it's presented to us currently. I'm afraid of the future, as Fear Factory has taught me to fear the future.
And the machines.
But who knows? The new vocalist may be awesome and, you know, a new chapter, but it took me a good 10 years to get into the new Sepultura, which I love now. Not as much as the old Sepultura. And I believe that's probably how the new Fear Factory will settle with me. But this album, it's a hell of a send-off.
I'm going to go with 4. I really dug this, and honestly, I thought it was just kind of nostalgia because, again, Demanufacture is up there with one of my favorite albums in terms of 90s metal or just metal in general. And this really touched on that, and I haven't heard Fear Factory sound this inspired since maybe Mechanized. Mechanized was pretty good. Yeah. But, I don't know, they're just hitting every single, like, you know, checking off every single box that Fear Factory should, and it doesn't come across as like, all right, we're just going through the motions. This sounds intense and energetic. It sounds like there's a lot of energy behind it, whether that was negative or positive. I mean, obviously somewhat negative, at least in some facet. But I don't know, whatever they were going through, it came through in the studio as something awesome, loaded with hooks and just pummeling riffs, everything you know that Dino can do on guitar in terms of just chugging you down to the center of the earth. Yeah, he does it again. Yeah. But again, this just kind of comes across as like refreshed, and I'm in the same boat with Rin here. It feels bittersweet, even though I know that Fear Factory will continue. It just, I don't know, it won't be quite the same, but I'll still listen to it when it comes out, and whoever that singer might be, you got some big shoes to fill, and I hope you do well. But yeah, this is a good send-off for Burton and possibly the start of a whole new chapter for Dino and this new version of Fear Factory. So 4 stars. Good album. Go get it. It will just beat you down, and the machines will win if you don't get it.
Can't let that happen.
Can't let it happen.
And if you like what you saw here today, please hit the like and subscribe button. The like helps us out, and the subscribe helps you out because it notifies you of when we release awesome new content such as this, which we do pretty much all the time.
Also, we are on Patreon, so if you'd like to help us out there will be a link below in the description. And look forward to doing more reviews. A lot of other ones coming up towards the end of the month that are very tasty, and I'm looking forward to getting into those. And of course, working on rankings, Cannibal Corpse, and all that stuff, so plenty of stuff to look forward to. And with that, we thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you later.